Good morning, sixth grade students. Mr. Wagner for day 36 and 37. Whoa. You'll notice that this week there's a lot of WebQuest stuff, right? It starts the WebQuest time in our unit. You're going to have me talking about the subjects too, because they're some of my favorite in all of history. But if you're looking at the screen in front of you, you go into day 36, 37, it says Monday assignment, Athens and Sparta, my favorite subject of ancient Greece. And you're going to go to a YouTube video about Athens and Sparta with Mr. Corwin, but you're going to get just as good, if not better, information with me right now. Every answer that you will find is on the video, and then you'll click on copy day 36, 37, or day 36 right here. And then you're going to, where it is red, you're going to highlight that and type in your answer. And there is a time marker that tells you where in the video to find your answer. The idea is, what did Athenians value? What did Spartans value, right? They're very different cities. Without watching the video, let me try to break it down for you as an introduction. Athens is very in being in everybody's business, kind of like the United States is today, and all over the world. But to them, it's just near Greece. And they go and they make lots of colonies, and then they make money off of that. Sparta is very withdrawn. They're like, I don't know, like China in the 1980s or 70s, or like as quiet as North Korea, but not as crazy as North Korea with the government. They like to keep to themselves, and they, each one loves the military. Athens loves having a navy, so they can sail their ships around you and then surround you, and you have to surrender. They are good at fighting, but they use their navy first. And they actually, sometimes you crash your ships and then they're stuck together, and then you jump onto their ship and you're fighting like pirates or something. Whereas Sparta likes to fight in like a round, and they fight in like a line of people called a phalanx, and they like just are not afraid of dying, and they just have this amazing military that they just take a beating, and like Rocky the movie or something. What they value, Spartans also value like, how do I describe it? They're not too worried about being book smart. They're worried about being like strong, like bull, like really strong. And men and women are more equal in Sparta because they're both part of a machine. You're basically supposed to get married and have more kids so that they can be future soldiers or future mothers. And you're not supposed to have a lot of money or wealth. And thinking about like why we're here and how things work is a waste of time, and you're supposed to be getting ready for a battle. The reason Sparta does that is because like 2/3 of the population is slaves of this group of people that used to live where Sparta is, but they were taken over. They're called helots. And in order to keep them under control, Spartan soldiers are like, taught to beat them if they're caught out in public without permission, these slaves, and also to just like be these awesome soldiers to scare those slaves. Athens doesn't think the same way. Athens doesn't have as many slaves, but they do have slaves. But it's just like, if you owe too much money to somebody, you can just like say, my son and I are going to work for you for like the next 2 months to pay it off. We're prisoners of war. Athens is not, men and women are not as equal. Men are allowed to go out in public without somebody watching them, and women have to go with somebody that's male from the family. And men spend a lot of time talking about politics and government and what's good and what's bad and what's beautiful, and philosophy is what it's called, and are always reading and worried about that. There's less required military time in Athens than there is in Sparta. Sparta, it's like from the time you're 7 till death. Athens is for like 2 years, from like 18 to 20, which is kind of like Israel is today. Then you can stay in the military or you can get back out. So those are some of the differences. So that kind of answers 1 and 2 in my words, but make sure you answer these in the video. I wanted to do a little bit of my own slideshow that I used to use when I taught this. All right, so they had very different cultures, and actually Athens and Sparta do end up fighting each other, but that's down the road, so we'll just talk about what they are. Spartan society is military dominant, and they believe that you need that for the protection from all those slaves. Supposedly Lycurgus was the one who started Spartan society after they had this giant slave revolt, and they had to make sure that they kept those slaves down, just like I said. When a boy's born, the government took him away. If the boy was unhealthy, the baby was left out to die or thrown off a cliff, supposedly. And they would do like a wine test, pour wine over the baby's head, like kind of like a baptism. But like if you cry too much, you're a weakling. If you have any physical deformities, you're left out to die. Which, like my son, when he was born, his neck was a little different, and we had to go through lots of physical therapy. So he might have been left out in Sparta, which is terrible. I love him so much; that'd be unbearable. Healthy boys were trained to be soldiers. This is from a movie where they have like the boy taken away at age 7 to go become a military person. Boys were trained by running, jumping, like basically like gymnastics, but like serious, like CrossFit. They weren't given shoes, warm clothes, and they weren't given enough to eat on purpose to teach you like street smarts. You were supposed to like break out and try to steal from people, but if you were caught, you were beaten badly. So it's like, don't steal, but steal, and then like don't get caught because we'll beat you if you do. But try to steal, and it teaches you like street smarts. There's like all kinds of military type people and TV shows that have all this stuff, and always thinking ahead. Batman and the Joker and the Dark Knight were always thinking one step ahead. So you're taught to like learn how to think like that. Spartan soldiers lived together in barracks and barely visited family from 20 to 30. They stayed in the army until age 60 if they made it that far, because you weren't supposed to ever retreat. So you fight to the death or you win. They believed that having luxuries made them weak. So you can't have any nice things. They kind of had socialism where everybody shares equally. Spartan soldier, 7 to 12, you're at a training barracks. More like using weapons and actually drilling when you're 12 to 18, and then 18 to 20, actually out in the army in like a apprentice kind of way. Military service, your prime is 20 to 30, just like in sports. And then if you've made it 10 years in the military, then you get to be a citizen. It's a big deal. That is not how it is in Athens or here. You're born into being a citizen. Women had more power in Sparta, just like I said. They owned land and ran households when men were at war. Women didn't do jobs that other Greek women did, like weaving and managing the finances necessarily. But slaves did that work because there were so many slaves. They had 2 kings, right? What does this say? How it's outnumbered? So yes. So then they have what the government's called an oligarchy. The kings have power, but they're more like 2 lead generals. So whenever one's out fighting, the other one's at home in case they needed a backup, and vice versa. Then they had an oligarchy of elders. That was like the real power. Athens and the Athenians. That's the Acropolis that you learned about in your earlier work. It used to be a temple to Athena. Athens was Sparta's main rival. They competed against each other at Olympic Games. They both were just very powerful. They both really couldn't stand the way the other person was. In addition to physical training, the Athenians valued education, clear thinking, and the arts. They were big in philosophy, and like Socrates and Plato, and were very big philosophers, and being as smart as possible and reading as much as possible. And they actually believed, this is not what I believe, this is what they believed, that men are smarter than women, and women would like be too emotional and wild and crazy if they weren't like married and arranged marriages and had just having kids. They couldn't handle the reasoning faculty that men can. We all know that's not true. I mean, just like in middle school, like girls are focused and boys. From a young age, boys from rich families improved both body and mind. They trained but only had to devote 2 years to the army, 18 to 20, like I said. Boys and men in Athens. Rich boys had a tutor and studied philosophy, geometry, and astronomy. They spoke in public. They were big on having good public speeches, which helped them to participate in the government. Lots of debating and being involved in the government. Girls, when you are going back, you already had the video where you learned about direct democracy in Athens, where every male citizen got to be one who voted for what happens in the country. Not like today. We have representative democracy. Athens had Mr. Wagner, would make decisions about whether or not we raise taxes, which is pretty cool. Allergies. Girls and women in Athens had very little rights. No rights. They cannot disobey men, serve in the government, buy or own anything, or leave their homes. They received almost no education. Some learned to read and write from private tutors so they could like run the finances for the house. And it was just like get married and have kids. City-states began forming alliances. We're not going to go there. That's leading up to the Peloponnesian War when they fight each other. So we'll stop there with my slideshow. So Mr. Corwin says some of the same stuff, but I figured I'd give it to you from some the information from somebody else that you already know, in case now it's repetition. Now when you watch Mr. Corwin's video, you hear some of the same things. If you still have any questions about this stuff, I'm willing to get on a Google Hangout or to just reply to your emails, let me know. And then you just have to, for day 36, answer the questions. Where were they? Right here. Day 37 just flows, right? That's what you're supposed to do Monday today. Tuesday, you've got different questions. It's like on the WebQuest sheet, and there are answers. What do most people live by? Choose 4 things, and this is in the Greek family. The Greek family is not a video. The Greek family is this link right here. It's orange and red. You can't miss it. The Greek family, bite-sized BBC is really good because it like narrows it down. And the British always have world history. Like they do really well at it. They have really neat websites. So they have this right here, and it talks about the family, fashion, what toys do children play with, eating, always important, etc. So, what happened there? So then you'll read that, and you might have to reread sometimes, but all the answers are in there, and then you will fill in these. Okay, the red you highlight, and then you type in your answer. The life, I kind of talked about it. There's a really neat website that I used to teach with. That's how old I am. If it's still open, it ties in with BBC, which is the British Broadcasting Company. And you can go to, it's like there's little games. It might be fun. Let's see if it still works. Ancientgrace.co.uk. I think I typed it wrong. The British Museum is awesome. It's where the Rosetta Stone is that you learned about in Egypt. They fight everywhere it is. But if you typed in daily life or Athens or Sparta, you can look up information about them. They run Flash, which is getting old and not really on computers that much anymore. But then you can actually play like a game. Explorer usually just looks at stuff and read. Story, and then challenge. Play the Greek House Challenge. Let me see if I remember this correctly. See, like a lot of computers don't even run Flash anymore. But if you can, it's pretty neat. can learn about the different rooms in the house. And then you pick which room, you basically like set up where things should happen in the house. So that's like not the most fun game. So if I did ancient Greece, the one that's really fun the kids used to like is when you have to be a Spartan boy trying to steal food because they like try to whip you. Sparta. I'm not making this up. Survive the Spartan education. So you have to do all these things that this kids might have had to do, boys might have had to do in their like Spartan training school. ancientgreece.co.uk. All right, next stage. I passed because I'm still alive. And then, yeah, that's, oh boy, training, fun, reading task. So then it's like a word search. You have to highlight the words. So you have to just find these words. So they don't teach you much reading. So then, and then I have to basically just highlight the words. But if you go all the way through, there's one level where you have to like run back and forth and like steal cheese. And then they're trying to whip you. And you have to like get through the whips. It's kind of like Frogger. And I was like, because you're supposed to steal food as a Spartan boy, but not get caught. So you're trying to get as many as you can in like a certain time. It's hilarious. You definitely should try it. It's fun. But the kids are always like, that's messed up, but it's so fun. So you have to do like a couple different games. One, you have to like juggle or do certain choreographed dancing, or but then like the run away from to get the cheese is the best. So you got to definitely try that. ancientgreece.co.uk. If you do this, and you can get extra credit if you screenshot like you playing the game where like they whipping the boy trying to get the cheese. That's great. All right, so there's basically two documents that look like this. One on the 36, day 36 is Monday, day 37 is Tuesday. You can spread it out and do it, or you can do it all in one day. If there's any questions, you can leave a message in Google Classroom or just email me directly. And if you're really having trouble, you can ask for a Google Hangout. Otherwise, I won't be on the Google Hangouts live until Friday. I did have a couple of students meet up, which is cool. All right, everybody. Good luck with Athens and Sparta and daily life in ancient Greece. They kind of go together. And that is Mr. Wagner out for now. Have a good learning time.